Yo, greetings and blessings, everyone. I know today is fucking July 4th and shit, and a whole bunch of African Americans are running around grilling some barbecue chicken or whatever you call it, sugar chicken, sweet ass chicken, barbecue chicken and shit, talking about how great it is to be alive here in July 4th, but yet they fail to realize that their whole entire ancestry was all in chains still during the time when it was incepted in 1776. You see, we didn't get free. Our ancestors didn't get free until Juneteenth, and Juneteenth was some period after 4th of July. I mean, the month of June comes before the month of July, but Juneteenth didn't actually take place. The movement of that didn't take place until years after 1776. You got to realize we didn't get out of slavery until like about, I think it was 18 something. I can't remember. I know it was either 1519 or 1419 until like 18. I don't know if it was 1861, I believe it is, and Abraham Lincoln's so-called Emancipation Proclamation. What you guys don't get that when Abraham Lincoln was freeing the slaves, he's only doing it for convenience. Abraham Lincoln didn't give a shit for the slaves. He didn't mind letting them suffer, and there's actually passages that talks about that. Um, you guys can continue celebrating your 4th of July and telling me Happy Fourth. And at the end of the day, that's what a lot of Black Americans are following. They're following the white Americans because white Americans wasn't enslaved or nothing didn't happen to them during that time. That's why they're so quick to tell you Happy Fourth. God knows that in here in Florida, a lot of white folks are quick to tell you in your face Happy Fourth. I'm like, whatever, the same to you. I don't care about 4th of July. Because on 4th of July, a lot of African Americans were still in chains when this movement was still going on. Why would I want to celebrate a movement that our ancestors? That's like basically we're celebrating slavery. If you're celebrating 4th of July, you're celebrating slavery. I don't care what you say. I don't care who you are, and I don't care how intelligent you fucking think you are. Because if you're really an intelligent person, you just shut off 4th of July all up. A period. 4th of July is a white American holiday, which is why so many white Americans celebrate it and will be quick to tell you Happy Fourth. And at the end of the day, I'm not showing no racial hatred towards anybody or no beef towards anybody. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to celebrate a holiday that was made by the European Americans to only benefit European Americans while the so-called African Americans was still in chain. So you guys run around talking about 4th of July. There's nothing wrong with it. Why you don't celebrate? I don't celebrate because I'm not supposed to. It's not my holiday. It is a white American holiday. No matter how you guys look at it, the 4th of July is not for us. Why you think so many white Americans will tell you Happy Fourth? Because at the end of the day, they don't even, a lot of them don't even know what happened to black people when 4th of July came. And then you have those that do, that don't give a shit. But it'll be quick to tell you Happy Fourth. Especially in racist ass Florida. If you look at Florida, everybody wearing Confederate flags, Nazi flags, tattooed all over their bodies and stuff. This is the bullshit I gotta deal with in Florida. Florida is trying to take racism to the next level. And I already see another race war getting ready to start. Because Floridians are stupid as fuck. All they want to do is start problems and they want to be argumentative and they don't want to reason. All they do is drink a whole bunch of liquor, buy a whole bunch of cigarettes, and it's mostly the white American women that come to my store and come to our store in 7-Eleven and buy a bunch of cigarettes and buy a bunch of liquor more than anybody else. You got more than white American males that are buying tobacco like Copenhagen and stuff that you put in your mouth that you chew. I tried that before. It's alright, but it's not my thing. I would be more of something else. But you guys continue to celebrate the 4th of July and make it as if the 4th of July is something great. So if you think 4th of July is great for you as African Americans, explain to me what was great. What did you guys do? What did your ancestors do in 1776 when it was incepted, when it came in, when it started to come into play, when the Americans defeated the British? Oh, I forgot. After the Americans defeated the British, they turned around and re-enslaved y'all again and told y'all get your asses back to work. They were doing shit about trying to figure out how fertile the black American women were then and that they must have 15 kids in order to be free. I posted all this stuff on Facebook, but y'all don't want to read it. Y'all don't want to look. At the same time, I also posted some very important news about Mr. Kirk Franklin deciding to take a spiritual path like I am. The smartest path that Mr. Kirk Franklin could do now is become a Rastafarian, and I'll explain to you why. Rastafarian is a belief where it goes directly straight to God. It is not no religion. You believe in God to the fullest power, and once you believe in God to the fullest power, yeah, don't see that shit. When you believe in God to the fullest power, then that is where you are able to communicate him directly to do his works through him. You see, the Rastafari culture is a culture that was in response to what was going on back in the 1930s and 1940s, I believe. because Selassie came to become king in the 1930s, and down to the 1970s is when Rastafari took a full-fledged revolution, and when Selassie came to the island. Now, the religion is it's not a religion. People keep calling Rastafari religion. It's spiritual. It's a spiritual way of life. It's no connected to no religion, and we go to church whatever day we feel like, Saturday, Sundays, or whatever. But we pray to God to the fullest. I think a lot of African Americans need to turn to Rastafari because the symbol of the Lion of Judah is crusted on the Rastafari flag. That Rastafari flag was for the whole purpose to wake African Americans up. See, a lot of African Americans don't know that. They think that they should become Rastafari because it's not for them. It's only for Jamaicans. That is not true. I know a whole bunch of African Americans down here in the state of Florida that have converted to Rastafari. Got the locks, got everything going on. Eat the same diet like Rastafari. Eat mostly vegetables because that's what the Rastafari diet is. I eat mostly vegetables. So that's my diet mainly. Now, another thing I want to say, if you guys want to get up out of the situation that y'all in and y'all want to make your situation better, y'all got to stop following what the European Americans tell you. I'm not trying to say that they're the enemies or anything like that, but they don't know. They only know what they've been taught. They've been taught a generation and generation totally different than what we've been taught. We've been taught that we weren't shit. We were told that we were never going to make it. Our ancestors were never allowed to read, while their ancestors were allowed to do whatever they wanted. So you got to realize these are people that are used to doing whatever they want. So they're going to come up and tell you like you're living the same life. They're going to say, oh, happy 4th to you or this, that, and to you. But at the end of the day, some of them don't care or realize what so-called African Americans went through during that time. So when you guys sitting around talking about what's wrong with celebrating the 4th, then you're basically entertaining the fact that it's okay to be in chains. It's okay to follow what the European Americans do. It's okay for you to be obedient. Because when I talked to my coworker at 7-Eleven the other day, she was asking me what is wrong with celebrating July 4th. I'm like, you're born here in the United States. Generations to generation. I'm saying this to myself, not to her. Generations to generations after generations of blacks born in the United States that's been in chains for so many freaking years. And you're running around talking about what's wrong with celebrating July 4th. So what's wrong with going back into slavery then? Why don't you ask that? You need to ask yourself that question. What is wrong with going back into slavery when you guys don't want to go back into slavery? You guys already accepting another culture over your own culture as black Americans. You guys accepted European culture over here. So another way you're saying that your culture is not important. Because you're accepting the captivity culture, the culture that you've been in captivity in for fucking 500 plus years, and you want to run around and say it's okay to celebrate 4th of July? Y'all need to wake the fuck up. Y'all need to stop celebrating y'all Christmas, y'all motherfucking Halloween. All that shit is created by the European Americans to keep you down. It's a European-made holiday to fuck you up. And it's to mess your mind up, and it's to force you against your will, and it's to turn your way against God. What's godly about Halloween? What's godly about Christopher Columbus? When Christopher Columbus, a.k.a. Christopher Columbus, that had so many slaves, and beheaded so many people, and raped so many people. And you guys are entertaining this. So when you guys sit around and entertain the 4th of July, you're entertaining slavery as African Americans. No matter what. That means you're pro-slavery and you're pro-racist because you're a pro-idiot. You don't have no sense. You're ignorant. You've been misled for so many years, and now you accept the bad over your own. So when you guys run around talking about, I'm celebrating 4th of July, I'm going to cook some barbecue chicken, eat some pork. Yeah, and that's another thing you guys need to wake up on. So many of you black Americans are eating pork. Why is that? This is since slavery. You've been forced to eat chitlins, pig ears, pig feet, all parts of the pig that are deemed undesirable. And this is an unclean animal that's a cross between a cat and a motherfucking dog. And y'all sitting there entertaining the fact that pork is good? Something wrong with y'all black Americans in America, man. I'm telling y'all, dog. This is why so many cats in the Caribbean are pissed at y'all. They're looking at y'all like y'all are idiots. Y'all ain't ready because y'all are so ready to follow the slave master's doctrine to the T. Of all groups of people, it's seen that the so-called black Americans and the so-called Puerto Ricans and some other ones are following the slave master's doctrine and doing exactly what the slave master wants them to do. You guys want to wake up. You guys want a revolution. You guys are just wants to stir the pot and make something happen. You can't make something happen if you continue with the status quo. How are you going to make something happen if you continue going on with the status quo that you've been taught? You've been taught that you were less than nothing. You were taught that you'll never be able to learn how to read, or that you shouldn't read, or you'll die. You were taught that you were forced to learn Christianity. Okay. I got to wonder, why do so many of you black Americans, especially black American women, cry out to some guy named Lord Jesus? Do you know that Lord Jesus is not real? I wonder if you guys know that. There's actually a lot of substantial proof That is so-called Jesus Christ or Jesus Christ, or whatever the fuck you call that pussy motherfucker, Caesar Borgia. Go look up the picture of Caesar Borgia. Go look up and see Caesar Borgia. That's the man that y'all bending on y'all knees and worshiping. That blonde hair, blue eyed Jesus that y'all worshiping. Continue to do that and continue to lead yourselves astray and wonder why as a nation y'all ain't moving forward. Tribe of Judah, y'all need to be waking up. Y'all sitting down there going to church every Sunday. Who the fuck goes to church on Sundays? Only a person, only the slave master been teaching us that to go to church every Sunday. You guys don't realize that when you when you go to church on Sundays and worshiping, you're worshiping the sun god. You're not worshiping God because God requires you to worship him on Saturdays. If you can't worship him on Saturdays, he understands that, then that's called a black Sabbath. A black Sabbath, this is the real meaning of the word black Sabbath. The meaning of Black Sabbath is the day, Sabbath is the normal day of rest, which is Saturday. So Black Sabbath is the day that you're supposed to rest, but you have to go to work. So that's actually what Black Sabbath really means. Because the day of rest, instead of it being a day of rest, you actually have to go to work. You're forced to go to work on Saturday, so it's a Black Sabbath. God will not do anything to you for that. Just pray to God and ask him for guidance, because at the end of the day there's going to be times when you got to come to work. This is a Babylon system that we're in. So sometimes we're forced to work on Saturdays because they created a system that way and made Sunday to be the day of worship. But if you guys continue to worship on Sunday, you're gonna really drag yourselves closer and closer to hell, because you guys are should know better than this stuff. You guys, we're smart people. We're talented people. We should know better than to accept whatever's being rammed down our throats. People force you to eat pork. You eat it and accept it, and you trying to tell me to eat pork. Man, get that shit out my face. I've had pork when I was a kid, but I know pork is disgusting and it tastes terrible. So for those of you African Americans that brag about eating pork, y'all motherfuckers are nasty, because some of y'all out here, I find out eat possums and shit. Y'all following too much of the European Western philosophy instead of trying to do your own philosophy. That's what your African American culture is about. It is to do your own philosophy, man. Learn examples from what some of the Jamaicans are doing. They're rising up. They take up Rastafari, and they say the reason why they took this up because they know that the African Americans are the tribe of Judah. They do know it. But a lot of Jamaicans say since African Americans don't want to claim it, we're going to claim to be the tribe of Judah ourselves. That's why you have so many Jamaicans cursing African Americans, saying that African Americans are evil and wicked, and that that Jamaicans want to be the tribe of Judah. They're not. Jamaicans are the tribe of Benjamin. We are the tribe of Benjamin. Jamaica belongs to the tribe of Benjamin, the Wolf tribe. They don't belong to the tribe of Judah. The tribe of Judah is the so-called African Americans today. But unfortunately, you got a lot of so-called African Americans are asleep. They're asleep because they're allowing the slave master doctrine to continue to set inside their mind, and they continue to follow the status quo. Now, if you guys seen Kirk Franklin, I posted up on my Facebook. All you gotta do is look on my Facebook. Kirk Franklin has a video where he talks about he's done with religion. This is a guy who's with God's people. GP, are you with me? You know that guy who did that song back in 1990, I think it was 96, 97, 97, because that's when I graduated high school. That was my last year. So it was 97. This is almost 20 years ago. It'll be 20 years ago next year when he did GP, God's Property, Stomp. Stomp is still one of the best songs he's ever made, and I'm hoping he'll make more songs like that and go more into the hip-hop gospel movement. But now that he's no longer into religion, that is a great thing. That is something that Shirley Caesar and them couldn't wake up out of her, because she's continued to follow the slave master doctrine. That is something that the Winans family couldn't even get out of. The only one that was smart enough to do that was I think his name was Ron Winans. He's the only one with the brain. The rest of the Winans will be quick to judge you, and because you don't go to church on Sundays and praise a white God, that you're wrong. Because I remember one time they actually when Ron Winans came out with a song with Bad Boy, almost the whole Winans family wanted to cut him off from the family. But this goes to show you that a lot of black Americans are lost. You see, a lot of Jamaicans are not religious anymore. You got a lot more Jamaicans that are jumping out of religion than before. And back in the day, they used to have so many Jamaicans that used to go to church on Sunday and used to be so religious. Now you got more of them that are turning Rastafari. Back in the day, you never had that. Now you got more of them that are getting smart. Black Americans need to learn from that and see what's going on in the island and see what's going on in some of the other Caribbean islands, because they're awake. Black Americans are asleep because they continue. Not saying all of them, but a lot of them are still following what they're not supposed to follow, because you're going to church every Sundays, for one. Number two, you continue to embrace the Babylonian law over yours, which is the European Western law. Y'all continue to accept that. Y'all say that 4th of July is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. There's something wrong with you celebrating. Because if you're celebrating 4th of July, you're celebrating slavery, no matter how you look at it. because 4th of July wasn't made for us. And there's a lot of evidence that a lot of substantial evidence that proves that 4th of July was not made for us. So what kind of excuses do you have to celebrate 4th of July now? What kind of excuses do you have to sit around light firecrackers and honor the name of the so-called slave masters that had you in captivity, had your ancestors in captivity during the same time when 4th of July was being started? And in the UK, being that it happened during the Book of Negroes, that's why I'm so glad Book of Negroes came out. And a lot of you guys need to watch Book of Negroes on BET so you can understand the truth. I read this book years ago, long time ago, and I haven't read it in a while, and I haven't went back into it. But then the show came out on BET. You guys need to go look up this movie, Book of Negroes, and see what happened, because the British, who the Americans defeated. All right, this matter of fact, before I even finish that part, the so-called Americans that are in America today, not all of them were of British, Irish, Scottish, and all the other European descent. So it's like the Europeans were going against themselves technically when they had the war between America and the British. America defeated the British because you had more people in America. British had only a few people that came over. And this is the time when British decided, after this war happened, the British decided that they don't want no more parts of slavery. And what was America doing that same time? Locking y'all back up. They more than happy get y'all asses back up. And they're raping y'all, the black women, raping the black men. Yeah, there was a lot of rape between black men. There was a lot of black men being raped back then too. A lot of European men were raping black men. That's why I understand why a lot of black people can think that homosexuality can come from Europe. I kind of agree that it could, but it didn't start there because it started since the ancient times in Egypt. It was there first. The Europeans perfected it. Now, bestiality, that came from Europe. We didn't practice that stuff. A lot of perverted things come from Europe, but we follow it. We follow everything they tell us to do. Now, with England and the European Union having a falling out, England separated, that's a sign to show you that Europe is falling apart, and Europe will soon be destroyed. Because for all the wickedness that the Europeans have done when they invaded other countries like Australia, Asia, and all these countries, and raping the people, killing the people, giving them their diseases, it's all coming back to them. Look at the refugees in Syria. You know, the refugees in Syria is actually a karma for the time when all the Europeans came to all these other countries like America, Australia, and invaded them and took them over. You know that though, right? So now the Europeans, I have no choice but to let these refugees in. So any other place that the refugees are coming to, they're forced to let them in. But they're so mad that they don't want to do it. They reluctantly don't want to do it. But hey, you Europeans want to come in other people's country, control it, tell other people what to do, and run people's lives, and make our life become your life become our life, and we follow you, right? So guess what? There's nothing wrong when the Muslims come in and start invading. See, this is a comeback for Christianity, because Christianity, when they came to all these other countries, they invaded them, take them over, forced us to believe in Christianity. And if you look now, slavery still continuing in Africa. There's this German-American woman that comes to Africa. And matter of fact, she's actually got charges against her now. I forgot her name. Well, she'll go and adapt all these African kids from East Africa, I believe it is, or West Africa. I can't remember where it was. And she'll teach their kids. She'll force the kids into Christianity. And what she does, she sells them. She sells these kids. So slavery is still going on in Africa, and you got a white American woman that is going up in Africa that is doing these things. So at the end of the day, but she's caught now. I don't know if she's in any trial, but they say she's on that she's being tried for something. So at the end of the day, when you guys continue to embrace the European culture and embrace the European American culture as your own culture, you're just only basically making a mockery and a fool out of yourself. Now, I want to shout out to all the strong sisters out there like Cynthia G and Sharjah Ali and all these other sisters that I can't remember whose names up there. I got a lot of respect for you women, for a lot of you black American women. Y'all doing y'all thing, because at the end, because when it comes to black women as a whole, black American women are the only ones who are willing to stand up and willing to take the movement to the next level. That's who they are, and that's why I would love to marry one. I would love to marry me a black American woman, because she wants to take the movement and push it forward and make blacks be respected altogether. You go to the islands and stuff, you don't see that as much. Most of the island women, especially Puerto Rican women, will embrace the slave masters. Because if you look at Rosalind Sanchez and Rosie Perez and women like them, those are Puerto Ricans, supposedly. They're watered down Puerto Ricans, not the real Puerto Ricans, like Jocelyn Hernandez, but they say they're Puerto Ricans. Real Puerto Ricans don't have pale skin like that. Real Puerto Ricans have skin like how I'm dark, like how Jocelyn Hernandez look. And there's a whole bunch of them. They said that most Puerto Ricans look like how Rosie Perez looks and Rosalind Sanchez. No, that's not true. That's 40% of how the Puerto Ricans appear. 'Cause I see a lot of dark Puerto Ricans, and I see the Puerto Ricans that are in between both shades. So get your facts straight. But I see a lot of them embracing it. But black American women are the only ones I see are the most consistent. Are the most consistent out of any group that'll say, yo, let's take the black woman forward. I love my black man. Out of all the black women, you never see no other black woman that embraces a black man like the black American woman. If y'all brothers are smart, especially y'all foreign black, if y'all foreign black men like myself, and y'all smart, you become successful, you marry an African American woman. It's that simple. It's that simple. Because the African American woman should be the number one choice for any black man. Because they're the only ones taking the movement forward. That's why I got such respect for Cynthia. Cynthia G is doing her thing online. And you got other sisters out here that are speaking up. But she may sound like she's coming over a little extreme, but I understand that. I understand her frustration because if you look at it, you still got so-called white Americans that are still doing us the way they're doing it, still treating us like shit, still calling us the N-word. Like you got this idiot like Mark Dice. Mark Dice is one of the biggest. This dude, to be honest, Mark Dice is a false conspiracy theorist. You can't believe anything coming from him. He even got a thing on his video called the racism experiment. How you gonna have some kind of racism experiment if you're not a racist? Number two, he's got a video on his page degrading a black woman. All he does is sit there and degrade black women. And then he has some stupid comment that he made. He has a lot of racial comments that he makes, like how white men hardly date black women. Yeah, no, you got it wrong, buddy. White men hardly date white women. Because, see, the majority of you white men are too busy sticking y'all motherfucking dicks in Asian women, Latina women, and black women. Because y'all coming for the black woman next. Because y'all leaving y'all white women and abandoning them. Matter of fact, I live in the state of Florida where a lot of white men don't even want their white women. And Florida, one of the most racial states there is. Even though you got still a lot of white men that stick to their own women, and mostly a lot of white women stick to their own men. They're strictly for their own men, even if their own men don't want them. It's hilarious because I see that their whole power, their whole system is crumbling apart in front of them. Because number one, most white American men don't like their own women. They marry Asian women. I see a lot with Puerto Rican, because you got a lot of Puerto Rican women that like white men. I'm talking about not like the Puerto Rican women that look like Jocelyn, but the lighter, watered down Puerto Ricans that look like Rosie Perez and Rosalind. You'll see the majority of them with white dudes nowadays, and especially in my area because a lot of Puerto Ricans come here because their land is messed up as far as the economy. It's a third world country now. That's why I'm not surprised so many Puerto Rican women are going for European men, because they don't have anything. They're doing like the Asians. They're doing like the third worlders of the other countries. So they're gonna follow them. So Puerto Rico actually isn't officially, even though it's a territory, it is a third world country. But here's what I don't understand about some Puerto Ricans. Why do they hate Mexicans when Mexicans have it more difficult than them and have to work 10 times harder? That's another thing I don't get. But let me get back to the point at hand and finish my point. That 4th of July wastes of black American time. It's only for white American people. I'm sorry to tell you that. That's why so many of them will walk up and tell you Happy 4th. Because their ancestors were doing good, getting each other's rich off of our riches, building the country off of our backs. Because our ancestors had to literally build the country from ground up. And they wiped all the Indians out, gave them sick with their diseases. That's what the Europeans do. They come, invade, destroy. I don't have no hatred toward Europeans as a whole, but if you look at the history of what's going on, the finger needs to be pointed where it needs to be pointed. You guys need to stop celebrating 4th of July and celebrating all these damn holidays and wake up, because if y'all continue to sleep, y'all going to see what's going on, because y'all being replaced. In that Jesse Williams speech, I want to put that in before I forget. I want to finish up on the Jesse Williams speech. This is the final part. Now, I've heard some rumors online that Jesse Williams could be fired for what he said on the BET Awards. It may not be true. But if it is, I wouldn't be surprised if Shonda Rhimes does something like that, because Shonda Rhimes doesn't like black men. She's a single mother with a bunch of kids that has a successful program that is owned on a station that is owned by, you know what, the Europeans. So she's going to lean and cater towards them and do everything toward. Why do you think she fired, what's the actor name? Isaiah Washington from the show so quick? Isaiah Washington would stand up for himself. Now, I wouldn't speak out about gays the way he did. I would have went up and I would have apologized, and I would have definitely tried to make the statement more clear. Now, I don't have a problem with gays or anybody, but at the same time, I realize the world we live in, gays and lesbians and all of them have more, even transgenders have more rights than us. And transgenders have the right to change their sex and go after straight men like me. You see what I'm saying? A guy like me was straight, minding my own business, looking for females, and all that comes after me is transgender and gay male. So that's what was coming after me for a while. I let them know, hey, I'm not having it. I don't go that way. I don't swing that way. But a lot of them think I do, and I don't. And then you got these idiots because I go with my brother to like when I go to my brother, like when we go out and go shopping, me and my younger brother, everybody's quick to say that me and my brother are lovers in Florida. So this is another statement I wanted to make because this is a Monday rant. A lot of people in Florida are really ignorant and stupid. I'm sorry to say it. That's where I made the statement stupid like Floridians came from. Because where I live in Florida, people will take one look at you and assume something instead of trying to figure out what it is, they'll make assumptions say this is what you are. Like for example, if you look at a person, okay, you can look at a person and say that person got on this shirt. Oh, that person from California because he got on that shirt. Oh, what part of California you come from? This is how stupid Floridians are. They take stupidity and make it really a definition. You come down here in Brevard County Floridians can really show you how stupid it is because they're like the stupidest people in the world. They took one look at me and my brother and they said that we're gay lovers. Another thing about Floridians that y'all need to be careful. There's a lot of rednecks and a lot of racists down here. There's another reason why I want to get out of Florida. There's so many reasons why I want to get out of here. This place sucks balls. I don't care if Trick Daddy's from here. I don't care if Trina's from here. I don't care if Flo Rida's from here. I don't care if that fake ass bitch nigga Rick Ross is from here. Your state ain't shit. And I tell it to y'all face, Florida ain't shit. Georgia is better than up here. That's why a lot of cats from Florida, and matter of fact, a lot of cats from Florida are leaving Florida. A dude I know, he's going back to fucking I think it's Philadelphia state he's from. No, Massachusetts. He going back to Boston. He's selling his house in Florida. Everybody wants to leave. Even though a lot of people come down here, the majority of people come down here are actually white too. But even though a lot of them are coming down here, they're the majority leaving. So it's funny. A lot of people are leaving Florida, and I'm getting ready to try to leave Florida. I'm actually just trying to pay off my debt and get my life together and pay off Florida. But at the end of the day, man, Florida is not the place for me. It never was, and it never will, because Florida's a white place. You got a lot of racism down here, and you got a lot of them proud with that Confederate flag down here. You think it's bad in Mississippi and in places? It's just as bad here. It's just that Florida is a change. The state changes a lot because of the amount of population that a lot of other people come down. Now you got a lot of Puerto Ricans coming down here, so it kind of will even the playing field a little bit, maybe. But I don't know, because Latinos and Hispanics are known to always known to been taking the side of the oppressors usually. So I'm not sure which side they're gonna take during this election or what they're gonna do. Let's just hope they're gonna do something smart, because a lot of times they make the wrong decision and they always choose the wrong person. They follow behind the wrong people. So I don't know. It's like Donald Trump can say that. That's why Donald Trump can say all kinds of stuff about people, because people are easily fooled. And Hillary Clinton, she's no better. But at the end of the day, we got to make the choices that we got to make. Stop celebrating 4th of July. Stop celebrating Christopher Columbus or Christopher Combustus holiday, because all you're doing is encouraging slavery. You're encouraging inferiority. You're encouraging an inferiority complex when you're celebrating 4th of July. So all you black Americans are sitting down there eating pork, y'all need to stop eating pork. If you can't, then you can't. But pork is something that you're not. Why you ever wonder why they force you to eat pork when you were enslaved? Remember, pork was something they forced you to eat. And now if you look at every commercial these European Americans advertise, they always try to advertise bacon and pork, because they want you to eat that disgusting shit that they eat, because they eat the most disgusting shit. You can name all the most disgusting shit in the world, they eat it. They drink a lot of energy juices more than anybody else's. All the stuff that's unhealthy, I see they consume it more than anybody else. And again, I'm not trying to be racial towards any group, because I'm loved by European Americans, and I'm loved by every group of all around the world. I'm known around the world now. So since I'm going global and international, I just wanted to tell Lorena how I felt. So at the end of the day, you guys got to continue to try to fight for yourself and stop entertaining this slavery crap. Stop trying to entertain it, because all you're doing is enforcing. And you say you want change, you want your life to be better. You're not going to make it better by doing that. So this is the words of advice from your boy Tru-Dru. I hope that you guys are getting the message. Hopefully it'll sit well. Those of you that want to continue to entertain 4th of July, continue to entertain slavery, and continue to be at the bottom and wonder why y'all don't have anything. Instead of y'all celebrating 4th of July, you guys need to be celebrating Juneteenth. That is your 4th of July. That is the freedom of movement for African Americans as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Now, in Jamaica, my ancestry, we broke away from the Commonwealth back in over 50 years ago. But since Jamaica has broken away from the Commonwealth, What do they have to show for it? Nothing but a fucked up economy. And $1 American, I think it's like about around, it's either 80 to $100, 100 Jamaican dollars now. So just a movement. We gotta figure out, get our bearings together and get ourselves right. It's your boy. Peace. Tru-Dru.